All right. Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and as well as the men that taught them. And peace and blessings to all you Akim out there who pushing his word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as to all you believers out there who believe in on the gospel. And it's the brother Quara Abad from the GMS Houston camp. And I want to go into another lesson, the Lord willing to do be edifying. Should be something quick if the Lord say the same. But and I'm on a little walk and talk right now too, so hopefully ain't too much background noise. But as you see on the screen, I'm gonna play this video of Donald J. Trump, right, Mr. 45 and Mr. 47 himself. And the thing he gonna say is he said, I don't believe I can make it into heaven. You see, he said, I don't believe that I can make it into heaven, right? He said, and which that show you the so-called white man and Edomite, his mindset, which that's why Esau, the man Esau, their forefather, the actual Esau, that's why he was willing to give up his birthright, because as far as spiritual blessings, things that's to come, that you can't see heavenly blessings, Esau don't really care about that. The real Edomite, he really don't care about that. And that's Trump gonna say, should I think I had my heaven here on earth? Right, right. That's Esau mindset, to get it here on earth, just like they forefather. Get it now. I can't wait to get the blessings in the future. He wanted it now, But the thing is, what I want to touch on this lesson is that, because, we were looking at the comment board, everybody was like, well, at least he right. He ain't going to heaven. Well, that ain't so. Because President Donald J. Trump and the rest of you so-called white people, all y'all go be in heaven. All y'all go be in heaven. But it ain't gonna be for the purpose you think it is. You see? And that's what I want to touch on. Because all heathens, I don't care who it is. And that's another thing that these Israelites, the other Israelite camps, don't teach. They still teach us a hell, or that only Israelites go be in the kingdom. Well, if only Israelites go be in the kingdom, then who go be our servants? Who gonna be our slaves? I know I ain't doing nothing no more. I know Yahweh Shai for sure ain't doing nothing no more, right? So who gonna build for us? Who gonna do these things? Right, we need workers. So therefore, that's why the heathens gonna have to be in the kingdom. And the kingdom, when we talk about the kingdom of heaven, it ain't nowhere that you float up and then you meet the Lord and past the skies and then you go to the big pearly gate in the heavens. No, man, the kingdom of heaven will be on earth. Every nation had an opportunity to rule on earth. It just so happened when the Lord people, the Israelites, and his son, Yahweh Shai, who the world called Jesus, when we rule on earth, their rulership is referred to as the kingdom of heaven, but it will be on earth. The point is everybody going to be there, even you, Trump, but let's play it.
A little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but I've made life a lot better for a lot of people. And as an example, had the election of 2020 not been rigged, you would have millions of people living just in Russia, Ukraine alone. That would have never happened, and it didn't happen for 4 years. And I knew Putin very well. It was the apple of his eye. All the things I've said would have never happened. We had an incompetent administration. We had an incompetent president. And because of a crooked election, millions of people are dead. And by the way, the Israeli thing was much harder to get settled because of the past administration. Okay?
Let's play it one more time. So you see, I don't think I'm going to make it there. Let's play it one more time.
Okay. I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but I've made life a lot better for a lot of people. And as an example, had the election of 2020 not been rigged, you would have millions of people living just in Russia, Ukraine alone. That would have never happened, and it didn't happen for 4 years. And I knew Putin very well. It was the apple of his eye. All the things I've said would have never happened. We had an incompetent administration. We had an incompetent president. And because of a crooked election, millions of people are dead. And by the way, the Israeli thing was much harder to get settled because of the past administration. Okay?
All right, so let's get some precepts. Let's get this first in Revelation 5, just to show when us as Israelites, when we rule, the kingdom, it's going to be referred to or known as the kingdom of heaven, right? Heaven. You see? But it's going to be on earth. Just like the Lord in the earth he created, right? The Heavenly Father in the earth that he let all nations have a time to rule. It's our time now. Let's get this in Revelation 5. And then after this, we'll get supporting precepts to show, look, all nations are going to be in the kingdom. It just so happened that the Israelites go oppress the other nations in the kingdom for a long 1,000 years, man. You see, and then after that, Esau gonna be exterminated, and we're gonna let these nations go to certain parts of the land, and they still gonna have to serve us, keep our ways, keep our laws, keep our high holy days, so on and so forth, just as we had to do in the heathens' kingdom as we served them. Revelation 5 and verse 9, it says, and they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood, talking about the sacrifice Yahweh gave for the nation of Israel, and has redeemed us to the Most High by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. Just like all other heathens had a time to rule in the Lord's earth, we gonna have a time to rule as the chosen people in the Lord's earth. That's just what it is. And the thing is, once we rule, let me get Isaiah 14, we're going to finally be done with being oppressed. And now as we ruling as gods on the earth, kings and priests, now we're going to have the opportunity to put all nations in captivity who oppressed us. So going back to it, Trump, you're going to be there. Trump, you're going to be there. Everybody going to be there. You see, even 2/3 Israelites right now who ain't serving the Lord or believing on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, after they get a gruesome judgment on this side, they gonna be there as Israelites. And they gonna be blessed and kings and priests, so on and so forth, new bodies. See, people go come back in reincarnation. Trump gonna be back. That's if we call him Donald Trump, the Edomite in the kingdom, or what? Or we call him something else. But the point is, he gonna be there. Everybody gonna be there. It's Isaiah 14 and 1. If it come on, man. Isaiah 14 and 1, it says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, the Israelites, and will yet choose Israel. Yet. Why yet? Because as he always chooses people, he going to do it again for the last time and forever. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them and shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So all 12 tribes coming back together once we rule in the kingdom. And it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord. So we're going to have people as possessions in the kingdom. Let's read on. It says, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, male slaves and female slaves. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors, man. You see? So we gonna get payback. Trump, you're gonna have to be in the kingdom of heaven because you have to go through that judgment. You ain't about to get off. And, just after America, you had Trump Towers. The Lord let you be the president twice. And then you just going to die. You just going to die after this, and then that's it. And just, no, man. You about to get judged with all the rest of these Edomites, especially you kings and priests. And Trump, you the president. So you going to be one of the ones. So let's get Isaiah 149 next. In the chains. You one of the rulers of the earth right now. You going to be in them chains, man. You see? And you know what's crazy? I'm even thinking about this. Trump may like some of the Rothschilds, right? Some of the elite Rothschilds, they could be in the bunkers, in the underground bunkers. And the scriptures say that once the elect come out the chariots, the 144 gonna go around and get the elites out the bunkers. This is what I'm saying. Trump literally may go into the kingdom as Trump. This is what I'm saying. He may not die on this side and then have to be reincarnated in the kingdom. It might be Trump. He have time to go into a bunker when all hell break loose. Go into a bunker somewhere in the world, and he might, when 144,000 come down, he might be one of the ones pulled out that bunker, and then we bring him to your house in chains. It's gonna be some some of these elites, they gonna go straight from being rulers on this side to chains the next day, or however long it takes for us to come back down out the chariots. But the point is, since we talking about Trump on this, he may literally go from this world and then change in the next one. Instead of having to die and be reincarnated through another Edomite in the kingdom. Yeah, man. See, we're in those times that things are right here. Are right here. Let's read it again. It says, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. See, we was everybody captives. And they shall rule over their oppressors. So we're going to rule over our oppressors, man. And it says, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. So us as Israelites, we ain't gonna ever have to work another day in our life. That's why we gonna need heathens in the kingdom to work for us. Let's get Psalms 149. This just shows it's gonna be some kings in chains, and Trump might be one. Psalms 149 and 1, it says, praise ye the Lord, sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of the saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him, and let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in a dance, and let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. This is the point. Well, starting at the point. I should have started here in the first place. Going into salvation. When we get saved and the kingdom start. Psalms 149 and 4. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. So everything we read on, this is after salvation and what's going to pertain to the happenings in the kingdom of heaven. It says, and let the saints be joyful in glory. See, we will be in our glory in the kingdom. And let them sing aloud upon their beds in our rest. It says, and let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute upon the heathen. To execute vengeance upon the heathen. One more time, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Trump may be one of these people. Now, again, we know he just, the president of America. And we know the president at low level, they don't really call shots. The Rothschilds the ones. But as far as Bible prophecy go, that Egypt was going to have a cruel Lord. So Trump may be playing a big part in prophecy. The point is, especially if this man like Nero, so on and so forth, he may just go in chains. And then he still had a Trump look in the kingdom. I'm going to rip the toupee off, you see, and blow it in the wind. Right? Yeah, man. It says to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. So it's written for this to happen. It's written that all nations got to go in the kingdom because y'all have to get y'all judgment. And it's just for Esau, after a long 1,000 years, you gonna be exterminated, man. You gonna be exterminated. But Trump, you gonna be there. You gonna be there. Let me get one. All so-called white people gonna be there. All so-called Africans gonna be there. All so-called Elamites gonna be there. With the Indians and, then the Ishmaelites, those Middle Eastern. Everybody gonna be there. The thing is, the heathens gonna be in the kingdom. They still gonna be subject to death, right? Going off. They're gonna have to try to keep the law still. They're gonna still be subject to judgments and so on as payments. They still gonna die, right? Us as Israelites, we gonna live forever in those new bodies. That's how the kingdom gonna go, man. So look, these heathens ain't getting off free. Trump, you ain't about to do all what you have done and just get off free. Trump hands ain't clean, His hands ain't clean, so you ain't getting off free. Let me end it off on this. This is Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah 30, I'm going to get straight to the point. Verse 16. It says, therefore, all they, now when you go up a little bit, a few verses up, the Lord was telling Israel, look, I use these nations, these heathens to judge y'all. Since y'all ain't want to hearken unto me, I use these heathens to bring hell on y'all. But he said, he gonna say, but don't worry, because just as I use these heathens to judge y'all, Now I'm about to judge these heathens for what they did to y'all. And that's cold, because the Lord go judge these heathens for what they have done to us, and he made them do it. He made them do it. Let's read it. I'm gonna start at 14. Jeremiah 30 and 14, it says, all thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy. See, the Heavenly Father said, I wounded y'all, Jacob, and I did it with the heathens, with y'all enemies. It says, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Verse 16, and therefore all they that devoured thee shall be devoured. You see? So the Lord, the ones the Lord used to help devour us, now they're going to get devoured. It says, therefore, Jeremiah 30 and 16, therefore, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. Uh-oh, Trump. I thought you said you weren't going. Well, I thought you said you weren't going to the kingdom. Yeah, you is. You going. You going. And you go be in captivity in the kingdom. You going, for sure. And see, that's how we can kind of decipher on things that's being said in this world because of prophecy. You going. He going, man. And he don't have no choice. Let's read it again. Jeremiah 30 and 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey, man. It says all thine adversaries gonna go into captivity. So I don't care if an Edomite don't want to. You have to, man, according to prophecy. So Trump, you're gonna be there. You're gonna be there. I'm gonna end it right there, Lord. Willing, lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh. Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Rachak Wadash, and with that, Shalom.